I was asked to tell my story tonight, but I can't do it. I know how important it may be for you to hear my story, so I have written it down and asked it to be read. So here it is. Ever since I can remember, I've always enjoyed the rush I got from doing the wrong thing. It didn't really start getting me into trouble until I was 15. That's when I tried heroin for the first time. I was experimenting with drugs around that time, and once heroin came around, I was hooked. I had no idea what I was getting myself into or the places that drug would lead me. Because of heroin, I've done numerous amounts of jail time, been to several different rehabs. I now have a felony on my record, and worst of all, I have hepatitis C. I never would have thought my life would turn out the way it did, but there's nothing I can do to change it. Fortunately, I'm still young, so there's plenty of time for change. It took me a while, but I finally learned if I continue down the path, I will end up in prison or dead. Still to this day, I struggle with urges to get high, but thankfully, I know now that one-time using is not worth the consequences. I am still learning who I am and what I want in life. It scares me knowing that I'll have to deal with this disease of addiction for the rest of my life. But I am a strong enough person and I have enough support that I think everything will work out. I am currently job searching and figuring out what I want to go to school for. Some days I just want to give up, but then I remember my past and I never want to go back to that terrible place. I'm such a better person when I'm sober, and I don't ever want to be the person I was when I was using, and that's what keeps me going.
It's not easy to hear the things that she just read about that young woman who went through all those terrible things in her life, and I have no idea. I could never handle it for sure. But I am so proud of her for getting through what she did and pursuing her life and continuing to live her dreams besides the fact of the past. So it's wonderful that she did that. The story I have to share with you all today is quite different from that story. It's not as dramatic, it's not as deep, but it still is affecting many teenagers here at Pinckney and just many adults as well. But so I am a golf caddy, and when I caddy, many of the members will ask me, where do I go to high school? And I say, I go to Pinckney High School. And I always get the same response. I always get, oh, she goes to Pinckney. And I never understood before that, that people thought of us that way, and I never understood why they would say that, but then I realized that they don't view us in a good way, and that many of them say to me, oh, so you go to Heroin High, do you do heroin? Can I buy some heroin from you? And they think it's funny, and it's very, very hurtful, and it's upsetting to hear those things about our town, because I know that it's so much more than that, and I know that Pinckney is such a wonderful place to grow up. I love it here. I've grown up here my whole life, and I don't want it to always be known as that, because that's not who we are, and we need to change that view for people. And I have 4 younger siblings, and I don't want them growing up at a high school that's called Heroin High. I want them to grow up at a high school at Pinckney High School, and that they can be proud to call their school Pinckney, and that people will know it as a great community of people who are strong and stick together, and that just work hard to be strong, and that they will know that we stuck together throughout all of the hardships that we faced. And so I'm asking you all tonight to please not be the silent majority and to stand up for what you believe in and help our youth so that way they can have a better future here in Pinckney. Thank you.
My name is Dalton Dye. I'm one of the co-founders of this movement. And over the past 4 years, I've lost 11 friends. I had one pass away in a car accident, one pass away from medical complications after a traumatic injury, 4 to drug overdoses, and 5 to suicide. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're not here tonight to tell you how bad our youth problem is, or to point the finger and say at anybody, because this is no one's fault. Tonight, we're here to put the Hamburg Pinckney area back on the map as one of the most caring communities out there. We help each other up when we fall down, no matter how old or how young. And we do that for one simple reason, and that's because we've learned from our past. But that being said, we still have a huge problem. The kids talk about it all the time. Parents, we hear the kids talk about it all the time. And we try to come up with words and ideas to try to ease our pain so we don't have to deal with this. How many people here think I know what I'm talking about by a show of hands? All right, one. All right, how many here don't know what I'm talking about? Anybody? I can't even see you. All right. All right, so let's look at it this way. Let's take an imaginary drive from Gregory all the way down to Hamburg. If you were to drive from Gregory to Hamburg, you would pass a Kroger's, a Bush's, 3 fire departments, 3 hardware stores, 7 gas stations, 8 churches, and 14 restaurants. So you're thinking, okay, cool, the kids have something to do. They have a place to go and hang out at. Well, not necessarily true. So we're going to show you what I do on my Friday and my Saturday nights for fun. My mother told me when I'm home, don't get afraid, 'cause they'll be all the time. Who knows more than I know? Well, I soon found out just what she meant. Just a little disclaimer, none of that was scripted, none of that was actually planned out there. Somebody else just came to my house and started filming. I don't know who this was. No, but do you think it's just me? Do you think I'm just not easily amused, or I'm just not looking for places to be, or just a place to hang out or kill some time? We have another video here with some other kids who can enlighten you on how the rest of us are feeling. So what do you do for fun at Pinckney?
I hang out with my friends, go downtown, and hang out like near Taco Bell.
I usually either I hang out with my friends or I lock myself up in my room secluded. I watch Netflix. Me and my friends hang out, but we mostly just go to Brighton. I mean, we go to Taco Bell sometimes, I guess.
There's nothing really to do in Pinckney, so unless you play a sport or, you do everything exclusively in Brighton, you're pretty bored.
I normally just listen to music or read and write a lot in my room, and sometimes I'll go to the park. There's not really much to do.
All right, so now you guys get it. There is nothing to do here at all. Parents, your kids are taking your car and driving to Brighton or Howell to find something to do. They're not going to fill it up on the way home. It's just not going to happen. I know the kids are all sitting out there going, "Amen, preach it, brother." And all the adults are going, "Well, if you were to actually look hard, nothing." If you were to say, I don't know, take out the trash, mow the lawn, dust your room, clean your room, then you can find something to do. Well, we're not into that. I know this is a shock to some people. I want you guys to look to your left and to look to your right. Look in front of you and look behind you. You're in the front row, that doesn't count, he's not in the front row. I've talked enough. There's a lot of people in this room. And my hope is that every single one of you out there wants to recreate Pinckney. I hope that every single one of you out there wants to take some partial responsibility for our youth to make Pinckney a better place for them to live and a better place for them to hang out. So let's kick this thing off. Let's get it going. I have the honor and the privilege to hand off the mic, so to say, to one of our partners and our superintendent of Pinckney Community Schools, Rick Todd.
Good evening. Wow, you guys are awesome. You've been trained. Response. As Dalton said, my name is Rick Todd, and I am so happy to be here. And I am so proud to be superintendent of Heroin Community Schools. I am so happy to be superintendent with the school entitled Heroin High School. I am so happy that my 4 children get to go to Heroin Elementary. I'm so happy that when my wife works in Ann Arbor and her colleagues find out where she lives and what her husband does, she's combated with the question, you're really going to send your kids to school? You're really going to send them to Pinckney High School? Don't you know what goes on in that school? Are you kidding me? Well, 8 years ago, that conversation happened between my wife and I in my kitchen after I became principal of Pathfinder Middle School. And at that time, I realized we had a perception problem and a reality problem here in this community. When I had to convince my own wife that it was safe and healthy to send our own children to Pinckney Community Schools, I knew there was an issue. And when there was a perception issue in my own household, even though I had worked in the school system for many years as a teacher, as an assistant principal, and as a principal, I started thinking, if it's happening within my own household where my wife gets to live and breathe it and hear all the great things that happen, I can't imagine what's going on outside my household, both within this community and beyond. And as I've been honored to be given this opportunity to serve our community, serve our kids as superintendent, one of my kind of burning desires was to use my voice, use this opportunity to reshape, rebuild, and take these glasses off, many of us within this community and many of those without, and put some new glasses on. Because I know all the fantastic kids we have in this district, adults that care for them, and I am so tired of our community and our kids being dishonored by toxic language, by hurtful things that doesn't serve the human justice. And we've all been guilty. I have been guilty. When I've heard people say things about our school district in past years, when I've read it on blogs, when I've read it on Facebook, I've been guilty because I did nothing to stand up for you kids. Because I didn't have anything to come back with. And my wife didn't have anything to come back to her colleagues at work that were giving a hard time about sending our kids to the school district. Because we weren't sharing all these great things. We kind of bottled it up. And that's why when you see these emails that I send, they have many purposes in terms of building trust, communication, support. But one of the primary purposes of me showcasing our kids and the adults that work with them is to give you tools. When somebody says, don't you know what happens in that school district? Are you going to send your kids to that school? Are you kidding me? Let me tell you about my school. Let me tell you about the great things these kids are doing. Do you know these kids, this past graduating year, earned over $5.9 million in scholarship offers? Do you know that there was... Do you know these kids are doing internships with computer engineering companies down the street in Brighton with Lowry? Do you know that one of our graduates is going to West Point Military Academy? Do you to do to stand up for our kids. This past year, I did something I've never done before. I got engaged into a Facebook kind of blog conversation. And as superintendent, I was always very skeptical, saying I'm not getting caught up in that kind of mess, because it can get ugly quick. But over Christmas break, there were some folks dogging us about the drugs, and about this, and about that, in our school district. And I jumped on there, I said, what are you talking about? Show me your data, give me the facts. And of course, could they? Absolutely not. And then the next statement, I said, here's my personal phone number. You call me as soon as school gets back, and you make an appointment with me, because I'm going to walk you around our schools, and I'm going to have you look in the eyes of the kids that you're painting with this brush. You're heroin, drugs, and all these evil things. And how dare you do that? And people underestimate the power of their brush that they paint us with. And it's easy, but we got to take that brush out of their hands, and we have to put the brush in our hands. And we have to paint the brush of what we look like and what our kids represent. And no more am I standing idle. I was in a meeting with some political figures within this community, having a conversation. And of course, one of the comments, well, you know about all those drugs in your school, right? I said, no, I don't know about all those drugs. You tell me about all those drugs. Give me the data, show me the research. And now once again, don't get me wrong and sit there and say, Mr. Todd just wants to ignore the problem. Absolutely not. If there is a drug issue in society, there's a drug issue in school. There's no pixie dust that changes our kids when they walk in our doors. If they're impoverished in our community, they're impoverished in our school. If they're victims of substance abuse in our community, they're victims of substance abuse in our school. If they're victims to sexual abuse in our community, they're victims of that in our school. Some folks like to think that there's some magic dust that changes kids when you walk to our doors. We accept every single kid that grows up in our community in our schools. All the good stuff that they have, and all the struggles they have. And the quality of our school district isn't whether or not we have struggles, because we all do, it's how we respond to them. And if you want to see a quality community and a quality school system, please come spend some time with us. Look in the eyes of the kids that are unjustly painted with this brush. And you will see some of the most caring, compassionate, hardworking, committed young people and adults that you'll ever find in Livingston County or in the state of Michigan. I kid you not. So when Vicki Lovell and Rosemary Goss came to me this year and said, hey, we got this idea about a youth center, I said, perfect timing, because I've got this idea as a superintendent. And I've been working with it throughout the course of the year. And tonight we're going to be talking about a youth center, but it's so much bigger than that. It is really about making sure that when people hear Pinckney Community Schools, the first thing they think of is just, once again, the essence of who we are, the great things we do, and the quality of people that we have in our community. Because we don't want folks not to come be part of something special because of what they perceive and what somebody wants to put on Facebook or what they want to spill in terms of their work dialogue. That's nonsense. And we have the power to change that. Perception is reality, but we are in control of the perceptions. And yes, there have been folks who've made poor choices. There have been kids who've made really poor choices. But I also know there have been really a lot of great adults helping families and kids become healthy once again. And it's something we talk about continuously as educators. So I so appreciate your partnership tonight. I so appreciate the partnership that we have with the group, and we're going to unveil the name of the youth center here this evening. I'm just so impressed with the amount of folks that are here on a June summer night to be part of this. I appreciate your time, appreciate your support, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here, and thank you for caring. My name is Rosemary Goss. I'm a retired teacher from the district. And I taught for 36 years. And when I came to Pinckney, I knew that I had found my home. This is where I'm comfortable. This is where I live. And this is where I find joy. And most of the time, those of you who know me, I find joy being with students, being with you. So a number of years ago, about 4 years ago, Vicki Lovell and I found ourselves at a table outside of St. Paul's Lutheran Church selling wares. I don't know how it happened, it just did. And it turned out that we both had the same issue on our heart, and that was helping youth in different ways. My husband and I had always talked about setting some place up for kids, and Vicki was working with troubled youth. And so together, we started looking at what we could do. And so this idea was born from us. But first of all, so many of you in this room have already tried. And it's not that something didn't go wrong or something didn't go right. You were there, you were working, you talked to other people, it was your vision, you wanted it, but somehow it didn't happen. And the only reason that it didn't happen is because every person out there was kind of an island unto itself. And Vicki and I recognized that because by the time we were talking about all of this, dozens of people would come to us and say, you know, we tried something like that, and you know, we did this, but then, and hundreds of people would approach us and say, we need this. So Vicki and I said, well, let's bring everybody together. And so, over the next few years, we researched, we talked, we figured, we looked, we went all over, and we came up with a plan that became CYDI, and for us, the PCYDI, the Pinckney Community Youth Initiative. And from there, we thought we can't really do anything with this until we lay the foundation. So part of the history is the foundation. And our foundation went like this. First, we went to the churches. And we talked to the churches, we brought them together, and they said, yes, we want to be part of this. Let us be here, let us be your rock, and we'll be part of this. So now we had one of 6 pillars on board, the churches. And then we went to school. We talked to Rick. I don't have to tell you what he said, he already told you. It was amazing. And the school district has been incredible. They've pretty much given us so much carte blanche to do whatever we needed to do in terms of using the facilities like tonight, borrowing equipment, doing all kinds of things. We've talked to the administrative staff, they're on board. The teachers are beyond happy, I can't tell you. The teachers are on board as well. So now we have the churches and the school district. After we did that, we went and we talked to our local chambers of commerce, or one chamber of commerce in this area. And they said, let's do it. And people in the chamber said, we can provide you this. We'll let you do this. Hey, how about call us if you need help? So now we had 3 of the 6 pillars on board. The 4th pillar in our scheme was the who? The government, thank you. We went both to Putnam Township and Hamburg Township, and we talked to them. And we were very enthused, and we were so uplifted, because both Hamburg and Putnam said, absolutely, we're on board. You want to borrow this, you want to use it that, you want something, fine, we'll do it. Okay, that left, well, and then something interesting happened. Then, people started coming to us. And the first people who came to us, well, first of all, the first one that showed up on our door was Dalton, the young one over there on the floor. And Dalton came into a meeting one day and said, hey, I'm doing this thing, I want to do things for youth, and I'm going to do it with or without you. Well, we said, we'll do it with you, and so now he's one of our co-founders. And then the League Foundation came forward and said, this is what we want to do. We want to help our community, and we have things that you need to help you get going. So we now have a 501c3, which means that we're nonprofit and we can accept donations. And the League Foundation has been really, really wonderful for us. And then the Pinckney Coalition formed a partnership with us. And if you don't know about them, you should. You should look at their website. You should pay attention to them. They've been doing this for 7 years, and they've gotten so good at it. And they have such resources and so much help that they can bring to the initiative that we're so happy to partner with them. And so now we started having, it's like, this is good. This is going to work. Well, if you're going to work with kids, I guess it's important to have kids, yeah? So then we went into the schools and we started to talk to students. And the students said, yes, we want to be part of this too. So because we had teeth, we thought we could do that. And that brings us pretty much to tonight. So we thought that we'd bring you together and tell you we're not just a couple of ladies who are talking, we're a couple of ladies and a guy. We are a group of people that is solid in the community, that they're here, that they have already come together and said, yes, let's go. And so, Vicky's going to tell you where we are, what's coming next, and what you can look forward to. Thank you.
To see everybody here. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of this. I'm Vicki Lovell, and I've also been an educator for 20 years, not 36, and now I'm the Family Life Director at Shalom Church. And when we started doing our homework and our research, we went and explored model programs all over the United States. And there are some really amazing programs right here in Michigan. Well, the one that we decided to settle our hearts on was City, as Rosemary described. And that one is actually called Community Youth Development Initiative, and it was formed by Stanford University, some of their sociology professors. And what we liked about it is that it's not slapdash. It's not, we have a problem today, it's fixed tomorrow. It's actually a 5 to 10 year strategic plan. And I like that because it means that it's going to take some time for it to happen. And for change to occur, we know it takes 3 to 5 years. And this movement is a cultural change. This isn't plopping a building in the middle of Pinckney, Hamburg and saying it's fixed. We know that. I've said it from the get-go, and I'm going to say it until I'm purple. A building is not going to save a child's life. But the relationships that are built within the walls of that building will. And that's what this initiative is all about. So I look around here tonight and I get excited because I realize every single thing that we need to make it happen is right here. You are the right people at the right time in the right place to make this happen. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about what outcomes we're hoping for. Our strategic plan has 6 key outcomes, and the first one and the second one all revolve around youth. If you look around at these people, I've known some of these kids for years and years and years. And to see them turning into these amazing teenagers, I only want what's best for them. And when you get to know these youth, you're going to say the same stinking thing. So when we asked them, we said, what is it that you want? We went to their lunch hours, we went to their classrooms, we talked to them in their groups, we talked to them in youth groups, we talked to them on the street. You know what they want? They want to know they matter. And right now, they don't want adults to like turn their head. They know there's a problem. We're not burying our head in the sand anymore. We recognize that our town has a reputation problem. And we recognize there's nothing to do. We get it. They want to know they matter and that we adults in the room will actually do something to help them fix that challenge. They also want to know that we're going to invest in them. Because what ends up happening is as we invest in them, we help ourselves. Crime rates go down. House values go up. People want to come to our community. Businesses want to come here. We attract people. It's amazing what ends up happening when we actually look to our youth first. So part of this initiative then is developing relationships between the young and the adults in the community. And by doing that, that means we start to give our time and our talents and our treasures to these folks. So I'm going to ask you to think of this youth center totally different than what you probably have in your mind right now. It's not one building. Our youth center is the entire community. So let me explain what that means. We recognize we need a physical space to call the hub, whatever we're going to have as a place where we know the kids can go and check in and be. Because they just want to be kids. We can stuff them into a place like Jane Tash to watch a concert, but that's like mom and dad's place. But if we give them their own place to watch a concert where they don't need to worry about acting perfectly, that's allowing them to be kids. So we know we need a place for them to be, but then we want to take along this 12-mile stretch of our community and have different sites where kids can go and have activities. I'll give you an example. One of our partners is Health Survivor. They recognize that from the hours of 3 to 6 p.m. is when the highest drug use occurs in our community. So from those hours, they decided, well, why not have tournaments for paintball for middle and high schoolers? Then we had Legacy Center approach us, and they said, if we can get transportation from your schools out to our dome, we have nobody in our dome from 2 to 5 every day. You can have free access to it. Well, we heard about Let's Bus might be getting a grant that would help us with that. Well, those hours aren't the only hours we'll need some help. So we heard from Clay's Marina, who's been some tremendous support in this whole thing. And they said, well, we have a bonfire pit. Can we offer that up so that the youth can come and hang out there? And all of a sudden, artists start coming forward saying, I can offer something. Musicians start saying, I can offer something. I've had somebody say, I can't do any of that, but I can listen. Perfect, because we need you. Because that's the relationship stuff we're talking about. That's what's going to change lives. Some of you might be like, yeah, but I don't really like people. I don't want to do that. And that's okay too. Because maybe you're so brilliant and you can help us with the legal side of things. Or maybe you can help us with all the business side of things. Or maybe, just maybe, you have a building you want to give us. I don't know. Who knows what's sitting out there, right? So hard that tonight I'd say to you, we have the location, and boy, we came close. We went and visited places. I'll just give you a quick rundown, because maybe right now you're thinking, where would the best place be? We recognize it needs to be on the Lakeland Trail or off of it so that our middle schoolers or those high schoolers that can't drive can get there via bicycle. So we also, by talking to the kids, recognize the best place would probably be someplace between the high school and Navigator where the bus routes are so that they can drop the kids off if necessary. So we went looking, and we looked at the old lumber yard, at the Department of Public Works, at the old Stonehouse, now the pet supply store. We looked at the old St. Mary building. We looked at residents on Pettysville and some on M36. We looked at vacant land. We looked inside old schools, but guess what? Kids don't want to go hang out at an institutional looking building because they just spent 8 hours at school. So a lot of the places we're looking at, even Big Jams, we went over to Big Jams and went over to Lakeland Montessori. Some of these we really had to think through, you know, like coming out of Lakeland Montessori, it was very dangerous with cars. So there's all these pieces of the puzzle that as we go and we walk in these places, we're going, it's not perfect. But maybe somebody out there tonight can look at it from a different lens and can say, you know what, Vicki, maybe this is perfect and here's why. Or maybe I know that this particular piece of property, this parcel is going on to auction. Or you know what, maybe you're a carpenter or a builder and you think there's enough hands and feet in this room that we can build something. I go to Baja every year with my youth, and we build a house in 3 days. And there's like 10 of us. Don't you think a room full of this can actually build something better? I think so the whole part of our initiative here is that we're going to actually have the youth take charge. We want you guys. We want your thoughts and you being on our youth-led teams. We want the adults not to be afraid of these kids. They matter. They matter a lot. So we want you to not be afraid of them, to get involved. Somebody said to me, I'm not sure how this is going to happen, Vicki. I give a key to somebody who comes into the back part of my store all the time because they don't want to go home. And I thought, amen, you are changing that kid's life and you didn't even know it because you built a relationship. So that's one thing we're calling you to do tonight. And lastly, we need a community effort. As Rosemary described with all of the pillars, we've got the churches on board. We've got the school on board. We have the businesses on board. We have the youth. We have the government, and now we need youth. That's why this night is called Calling All Citizens. Because every person sitting here has some way that they can contribute to this. I'm a visionary. I cast big vision all the time, and then I expect everybody else to do the work because I've gone to my next vision. Here it is, folks. I'm throwing it out at you, and I'm asking you tonight to really consider being a part of making this happen. We have little kids out here, we have middle-sized kids and big ones. Every one of these kids sitting near you will be affected and their lives will be changed because you're taking the time to invest in them. This is the coolest part about it. You have control. This is our vision. You get to make it happen. When we come back up here in a little while, Rosemary will explain what the next step is. But while you're sitting and listening to our next guest, I really want you to think about what role you can play. There's no role that's too small. There are some huge roles. Heck, I'm kind of hoping somebody comes up to me and says, Vicki, I don't have anything else to do in my life, and I want to be your director and work 40 hours a week for free. Oh, come on. That's what you need. I'm going to give you an example. We have two musicians here with us tonight. They're awesome. They're an example of people who are sharing their gifts and who are going to partner as a venue site. They're from an organization called Lost Voices. Mad Cat is an internationally renowned musical artist. In fact, from what I understand, he can't even get off the plane in Brazil without being attacked. And he's a headliner at the Arc in Ann Arbor. So he's here tonight, along with one of our very own from Whitmore Lake, Mike Ball. He's a humorist, an author, and an awesome musician. And what their organization does is they love the youth. And they go into situations with at-risk youth and with incarcerated youth, those kids who've lost their voices, and they help them to put their thoughts and their words into lyrics, and they turn it into music. And we began this relationship with these guys because we have a similar interest in these youth, and they've agreed to become partners in our Recreate Pinckney movement and in our cultural change. What's awesome is they're going to be performing this weekend actually at Shalom Church right down the road, Saturday night. Come out and support them, because all the effort that they put into affecting our youth, it's like changing people's lives on a daily basis, and support them. It's $10. Come on out, 7 o'clock at Shalom. And you can even come for dinner beforehand if you want. But they are, they're here to show how you can use your talents to change lives. Mike Ball and Dalton met earlier in the week, and they took Dalton's words and they turned it into a song. And they're going to share that with you as well as another one. So please join me in welcoming Mike Ball.
Thank you very much. Do we have some light in this mic? Okay. My name is Mike Ball, and this is Peter Madcap Ruth. And like Vicki says, I have the good fortune to be a writer, which means when something, I've done this my whole life, when something really troubles me, I can create a character to just beat the living daylights out of it. Or I can let him get the girl in the end. It's really cool. I can do whatever I want. Kids don't always have a chance to affect the outcome of their life like that. They get stuck in things where they just really have trouble coping with what's going on. A lot of the kids we work with, I've worked with kids as young as 5 years old. I've worked with adults. Most of the kids we work with are teenagers who do tend to get, and I would argue, Vicki, that a lot of the kids in this room, their voices have been lost from time to time. Fortunately, there's a lot of parents in this room who are supporting what these children can do and be. But I think everybody at this time of life can be having trouble communicating or working out some of their problems. So what we do, in a nutshell, we could do our entire program in this room. What we do is we'll work with usually a group of 9 or 10 kids. We write songs as a group, individual songs, and then we put those kids on stage to perform their music, to let their voices get out in the world. Sometimes letting, in the case of the incarcerated kids, the therapists and the staff know things about them that they never suspected. In the case of parents, a lot of times parents get insights into their children that they really never had until they hear what they have to say. I'm going to do 2 songs for you tonight. The first one is particularly meaningful right now. It's been 25 years since the incident in Tiananmen Square, the massacre in Tiananmen Square in China. One of the early groups we worked with was a group of kids at Maxie up the street here. They were all convicted felons. There could have been some alumni from Heroin High down there, some kids that were convicted of drug offenses. I don't know that. But these kids were our children. They're just, you know, and one of the things about it, they had seen in one of the teachers' offices, they'd seen a poster that us older folks remember, a poster of a young Chinese guy holding a shopping bag and staring down a tank. And we remember the incredible footage. That tank had tried to go this way around and that kid would step in front of it. The tank had tried to go the other way, he'd step in front of it. And there were people being killed all around him. It was happening, it was a massacre. Yet that young man had the courage to stand his ground. And the kids had seen the poster, but they had no context for it. When I explained that to them, these young, my little felons, my little group of convicted kids, were overwhelmed at the courage, and they wanted to write a song about that. So, are we getting guitar out there? Yes. No? Yes. Okay, thanks. Okay, this is a song that the kids wrote. I was a student in Tiananmen Square, standing for the rights of helpless people everywhere. With a cannon in my face, no hatred in my eyes, I will hold this ground for liberty, even if I die. What's it gonna take? How many lives? How many voices left unheard? How many tears? How many years? Till the ones in power hear the word. I am a young girl in Pakistan, fighting for the freedom of the people in my land. I will stop at nothing with a promise to be free. I will even give my life to put an end to tyranny. What's it gonna take? How many lives? How many voices left unheard? How many tears? How many years? Till the ones in power hear the word. How many voices left unheard? How many tears? How many years? Till the ones in power hear the word. I am an immigrant in the USA. Though I try to work, I am offered little pay. I may speak another language, but still I understand that everywhere I go, I'm seen as less than a man. What's it gonna take? How many lives? How many voices left unheard? How many tears? How many years? Till the ones in power hear the word. Till they hear the word. Written by a bunch of incarcerated 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. One of the kids had his 12th birthday while we were working with him in the program. like Vicki said, we are going to be out at Shalom Church Saturday night with Jen Cass and Kitty Donahoe, who have helped me in this program from the start. You'll hear a lot more about the kids, a lot more about Lost Voices, and just some fun stuff too. It'll be a great concert, so please, we'd love to see you. Last Wednesday, Dalton and I got together and we sat over at the church and shot the breeze a little bit and ended up coming up with a song. And we use the same process we do with Lost Voices. You gotta forgive me, I gotta kind of read this off of the iPad, so if it goes, you're in charge of bringing it back. It's a song called Break the Chain. I got a secret, but I wear it on my sleeve. Storyline and tragedy, but please don't misconceive. There are faces I can't see like before. Cut me deep at first, but I don't bleed anymore. But I think there's something out there just for me. Something to break the chain, set me free. I will never give up hope on myself or the town that made me me. Sun against my skin doesn't keep me warm, so I'll throw up my best smile to shield me from the storm. The clouds are blown away, now it's clear. Now it's time for my pain to disappear. But there must be something out there just for me. Something to break the chain and set me free. I will never give up on myself or the town that made me me. For the town that made me me. Now I found a place for me to be. A ship that can take me across the raging sea. There's a new horizon I'm sailing toward. There's plenty of room for all of you. Come on board. Now I know there's something out there just for me. Something to break the chain and set me free. I will never give up on myself or the town that made me me. No, I will never give up on myself or the town that made me me.
Good evening. It is wonderful to see so many faces here tonight. I am also very happy to be here. My name is Vanessa Howe, and I work at Pathfinder. I am the Project Success Counselor there, and I also coordinate the It Stops With Students group. I'm also a Student and Family Specialist at Navigator. So I'm here to talk with you tonight about the Pinckney Coalition and It Stops With Students. Amy Johnston unfortunately wasn't able to make it. She is the coordinator of the coalition due to another event. For those of you who don't know, the Pinckney Coalition and It Stops With Students has been very active in the community for a number of years. We are a prevention coalition that works to reduce youth substance use in the community. The Pinckney Coalition shares a common vision for a youth center in our community. Since the coalition hosted a town hall meeting in May 2010, we have had different subgroups working to create a youth center. But unfortunately, due to money and resources, we were met with a lot of roadblocks. So we are very happy to partner with the Recreate Pinckney to help make this a reality. We look forward to working with them in the future, and I'm going to pass the floor over to Mr. Ben Lipsky. Thank you.
Hi, as Vanessa said, I am Ben. I am going into the 8th grade, and I still have hope for Pinckney. That is why I'm here. I have talked to people in our community about what they think about having a youth center, and almost all the feedback was positive. Some things kids would want in a group is bowling, roller skating, golf, mini putt-putt, swimming, sports, video games, dodgeball, and the things the kids most want is a place that kids can hang out, play games, and just talk. I want this for my friends, peers, and me. I hope we can find a way to come together to provide the youth with a place to be safe and have fun. Hope is when you wish for something to happen, whether it is likely to happen or not. Hoping is neither wishing means believing in it. That is the best outcome. So we need to hope for a youth center and hope Pinckney can change and have a new life. We have hope.
Well, we're coming to the end. In the beginning, I kept talking about the 6 pillars, and if you were paying attention, you know that I only talked about 5. Because you're the 6th pillar. We need to have all of them in place because we need to have a solid foundation. And again, without you, it can never happen. This is our town. These are our children. This is our responsibility. And so today, when you walked in today, you saw all those whiteboards out there. And when you walk out today, I want you to stop and look at them. They're asking you to do something. They're asking you to take action. And each one of them is different. Some of you won't do it. Some of you will think about it. But I'm going to tell you that for all the years that I taught, I had 2 quotes that I was known for. And the first one was, I always told my students, if you guys know what I'm going to say when I start, say it with me. They were never allowed in my classroom to say, I can't, I won't, and I don't know. When you say you can't, you cut yourself short, and you don't grow. When you say you won't, it means you won't even try. And when you say you don't know, you again cut yourself short. Because in this particular time, you can do all of those things. We're in a situation where whether you know how to do it or not, you'll be with other people, like-minded people, who it doesn't matter if you know how to do it or you aren't sure how to do it. You'll have people surrounding you who all have the same goal. And there's no better goal in the world than our kids. To make them happy, to make them proud, and to have them have a place that's safe and that we care about them. That we look at them and smile, and they look back at us and smile. That's the first quote. The second quote I always said to my students is, excuses make you weak. And I don't want any weakness in our town. I don't want there to be any excuses. So I'm asking you, even if at this moment you don't think that there's anything that you can possibly add, please go out there, look at the signs, and just see. I'm sure that all of you can find some way to contribute. That's why you're here, and I have trust in you. We all have trust in you. And so I want you to know that. You're going to see that we have these green flyers. The only thing this is actually is to tell you that where you can send money, where you can volunteer, how we'll get in touch with you. In a couple of weeks, we'll send out messages to those of you who volunteer to let us know where our next meeting will be. And then you'll come together. We'll ask you to come together with like-minded people. And that's the real test. That's when we really know, were you here to see a production, or are you sincerely here to make change? I think the students said it beautifully. I don't know how we can be any more aware than we've ever been before. So please, come with us. And behind me are all of the partners, all of these. You guys with your shirts on, come on. Come on, Bill. If you're wearing a red shirt, you belong up here. Part of our team. So many people came together on this. So again, thank you so very much.
We did tell you that we were going to name the building tonight. We are actually not going to. We had less than 20 responses, so we can do better than that. Not only that, we'd be us picking the name, not the youth. So, again, go on to Facebook and Twitter, hashtag Recreate Pinckney, hashtag what you think the name should be. And we have a sign out in the back, very back of the commons, back behind the round table with the balloons on them, with a big banner where you can put your name out there on. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out. So thank you so much for coming out.
When you leave, there's food and refreshments out in the commons just to give you a little bit. And if you have any questions, Vicki and I will be staying in the auditorium to answer those questions. And have a great evening.